What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house. Today, we're going to be talking about brutally honest fitness truths that you likely need to hear. So these are things that a lot of people believe. A lot of people are spending time, money, energy just consuming their brain and their entire fitness journey, and it may be holding them back, right? If you spend a lot of time doing the wrong stuff, it's just not going to allow you to see actual long-term change. So the first thing here I want to talk about is that you don't have to do endless cardio to lose fat. So a lot of people will start the journey, and when they look at trying to get in shape, they just think running, biking, swimming, walking, like all this stuff. And I really do believe that cardio has its place. It's great for our heart health. It's amazing to help us just be able to be in a calorie deficit, but it's not the end all be all. And I see a lot of people actually hindering the results because they end up doing too much of it. They end up going and saying, hey, I want to get in shape. And then they run a marathon, which in that process, you'll end up losing muscle, you'll end up burning yourself out, not being able to properly strength train. And even as a 1.5, a lot of people struggle because they confuse activity with progress, right? So they think, hey, if I join this pickleball league and I go and do a soccer league, and then that's what's going to help me get in shape. And so they spend so much time and energy doing all this stuff, when in reality, it's actually been proven that if you are looking to get in shape, to lose fat, to build muscle, you can actually technically get away with doing no cardio. Now, is that recommended? No, I really encourage you to do sports. I love walking, all that great stuff. But what really matters is being in a calorie deficit, so eating less than you burn and strength training, right? So those two things will get you to have incredible results. And then as a way to make the calorie deficit bigger, you're going to expand how much you're moving, right? So you can start to incorporate cardio. But a lot of people overestimate its effect. So I just wanted to break that myth. So that's going to be number one today.
And the second myth you need to hear is that you cannot outtrain a bad diet. If you're someone who just goes to the gym and if you have a really bad day of eating, you get on the treadmill the next day, this is not a sustainable practice and this isn't how it works. You're never going to get lean if you're trying to solve it through training. And I think Kyle even nailed it with the above point. These go quite hand in hand. Nutrition is such a big component of all of this. If you want to stay lean and mean and have a great physique, it's really important you are on top of your nutrition. Nutrition actually will fuel and feed better training when you eat better food. So all too often, it's easy to think you can get away without training it, doing that excess cardio, doing a ton of sports, and then just eating whatever you want. But that is a surefire recipe for a poor physique and maybe even a skinny fat physique.
Yeah, next up, supplements are the biggest money grab in the industry. Very hard for a lot of people to hear, especially if you've invested a lot of money into it. If you have, don't feel bad. I've been there. I remember back when I first started just this whole journey, I would go onto bodybuilding.com when that was a thing, and I would spend hundreds of dollars a month. And you name it. I ordered L-carnitine, I ordered mass gainer, I ordered some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. To me, I believe creatine and protein is amazing. I ordered a lot of decent stuff, but it's funny because a lot of what we're talking about here is just kind of spending time focusing on the things that don't matter as much. And in this case, a lot of people will have not mastered their diet. Like Josh said, for number two, they don't really have a proper strength training routine down. They don't really spend much time with recovery and proper sleep. And then they just go and decide to go to the local Healthy Planet or Popeyes, and they just spend so much money. And when you realize that a lot of the industry, it's about the marketing, right? So they have a very big marketing budget. They have an amazing marketing team, and their goal is to kind of get behind the scenes of what a lot of you are thinking and just have these bold promises on these products. And a lot of it comes down to the fat burners. There's just so many things that say they're going to do all this stuff. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, right? So what we really want to spend time on is that if you spend your energy, your time, and your money on the right stuff, such as your nutrition, your overall training program, and all that great stuff, it's going to make such a big difference. And even looking back, one of my biggest mistakes was spending hundreds of dollars a month on these supplements, when in reality, I could have sped up the process 10 to 15 times quicker, just hiring a coach. And so that's why today, especially with it being Black Friday, and it's going to be coming up very, very soon, we did want to give you an opportunity to work with us at a discounted rate. You're going to get a Colossus Fitness hoodie, which is incredible. You're going to get guaranteed results. and you're actually going to see change instead of spending it on all this other stuff that's not going to move the needle. All you have to do is click the first link down below, fill out an application. There's no strings attached, but I can't stress enough how important it is to actually do the stuff that matters. And when you have someone who tells you the stuff that matters, it makes such a big difference instead of just spending it on all the hundreds of dollars of supplements, especially the offers that are going to be coming out. I promise you, it's not going to be worth it, and you're just going to be wasting your money, but a coach will get you guaranteed results.
And next up, a hard truth you need to hear. The reason most people don't see the results they want is because you're not consistent enough. Even if you're on a horrible routine, you're on not the most efficient workout nutrition plan, you will see results if you stick to it and you're consistent. Truth be told, these crazy out of the box, like intense efforts where you're just doing it intermittently and you're either on or you're off, you're actually worse off, like I said, than someone who's just consistently doing a reasonable amount of effort. Now, in a perfect situation, I'll have great effort with great consistency, but consistency is a great mechanism for maximizing any form of results in anything. Doing the small things well, doing them frequently, and aiming to consistently get better at them is everything. So the more you can move from these massive actions or needing to optimize your routine every other day or try some new meal plan, instead just focus on being consistent, aim to get consistently better, and that's how you'll see massive results.
Absolutely. And number 5, we're going to bring it back to kind of a fad, a lot of things that people believe in. It's just essentially that you don't need detoxes, you don't need cleanses, you don't need these special drinks or these like fasting periods. I know a lot of people are going down that path of just like, hey, I'm doing a 72-hour fast and, I'm cleansing my system, all that stuff. That's what your liver and your kidneys do 24/7. A lot of these things that are out there, such as the detox teas, the cleanses, the different types of systems that these people are using these days, it just seems like there's so many of them consistently coming out. It's just going to be something that's going to be more of a money grab. It's going to be kind of more marketing, stuff like that. And the truth is, like, if you just have a consistently healthy diet and just bringing it back to some tips for you to implement instead of me just saying, hey, these things are a scam or it's not going to be worth it. When you have a diet where you're eating about 1 gram per pound of body weight of lean protein, you're staying within range of your calories. That's going to be supporting your goal, whether you want to either lose weight, maintain, or gain weight. And majority of your diet is going to be healthy whole foods. So these are the things that are kind of single ingredient foods. These are things, such as meat, like vegetables, fruits, like all that stuff. And then you have a bit of flexibility with 10 to 20% fun foods. Like, you're going to be in an incredible spot. And there's going to be so many things that are going on out there trying to deter you from this. There's going to be a lot of different fad diets. There's going to be these keto claims, these fasting claims, these detox claims, these supplement things, and they're just going to keep trying over and over and over again. So the brutal honest thing is just that you need a diet that actually supports your lifestyle. You need it to stick, and you need to avoid cutting out the noise of all these other things that are consistently going to pop up, and they're going to intrigue you. They're going to pique your interest because there's going to be bold claims. It's going to promise you a quick fix thing. And this alone is holding you back because you keep trying these things over and over again, and you're never going to succeed because it just doesn't actually work.
Next up, I want to just tell you, you can enjoy your favorite foods. There's no food that should be off limits. You can eat out and you can travel and you can still see results. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You don't need to hole up in your house eating chicken, rice, and veggies and never ever look at a fun food again. That isn't the case at all, and you can actually fully achieve this. We've done an episode recently on the Freedom Formula. I highly recommend listening to that if you haven't already. This showcases our systems we use to stay super lean, put on new muscle, and have tons of flexibility. All of our favorite foods with absolutely no restrictions or remorse. And ultimately, this is how you can see long-term results, is learning how to actually navigate being fit, healthy, and happy with your life instead of having it be one thing or the other. So this is a huge one. I assure you can do this. This might break your brain a little bit and you might be like, I don't know if I can, because when I go out, everything seems to go off the deep end. But I can assure you, with better systems and just understanding and process, you can actually make this happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still believing you can only eat clean and see results, and then also that you have to follow a strict meal plan. But we've showed you that it's possible with 5,000 plus transformations, and it's essentially what we teach every one of our clients with the Freedom Formula. So once again, friendly reminder, first link, no strings attached, just fill out that application. If you want to break free of struggling, you want to learn how you can have fun foods, see results, and just feel your absolute best at a guarantee, we're always here to help you, and we're ready to take care of you. But next up is, and kind of speaking of influencers and all that stuff is that a lot of them don't actually train and live the way that they say they do. So you really have to be careful, right? And I'm so glad to have you here. You guys have listened, some of you, for 700 plus episodes. You see everything we share online, and we really try genuinely to keep everything as honest and transparent. If I'm having a bad day, I'll pop on there and say, hey, I'm not feeling it. Here's what I do to get in the gym. If I have a fun food, I'm going to share that fun food. But the truth is, there's influencers these days will only share small pieces of their life. And the main way they try to keep your interest is just like post new and exciting stuff, right? And like what I'm trying to get at here is that there will be people, and especially influencers, there will be coaches, there'll be stuff like that, who will do like an exercise for the first time ever, this crazy, unique single leg balancing Bosu ball weird thing. It looks cool, right? Like a lot of people are interested in it. They've never done it before, and they'll say stuff like, cool exercise I love doing, and you need to try it out. Like they're always doing these things that it's new and exciting. And like, to be honest, social media, like you got to keep people's attention, right? But at the same time, like you have to take what they say as a grain of salt. And I've met influencers, I've seen a lot of people, they'll have all these things they share online, but it's definitely not the reality of what's going on. And even for like what Josh had just shared about eating out and traveling and stuff like that, there'll be people who share like, I only eat this great stuff. And then behind the scenes, they're just like pigging out, and just, that's not what they actually do. So you just have to be careful. Obviously, like if you are following these people, it's so easy to even just be deterred and to get the wrong information and to even feel bad about yourself if you're just like, oh, like I'm not where they're at and I'm not doing what they're doing. But a lot of them are just putting on an act. I'm going to be straight up with you. So you have to be careful with who you follow.
So well said. And for our last one, and this is a big one you probably need to hear, you don't need to train abs. You don't even need to train abs excessively to actually have visible abs. We all have abs, even if you might find it hard to believe because maybe they're being blocked by some fat or a pouch right now. I assure you have abs. We all have muscles. It's basic anatomy. And if you're training abs like crazy under the belief that it's going to melt the fat away in that specific area, that is not the case. Spot reduction has been largely disproven. And if there is any studies that indicate it has some potential effect, it's on a tiny scale. So if you have a lot of fat to go, you training abs isn't pointless, but it's pointless visually to the sense where you're not going to see that change. Of course, having a strong core, being able to actually be strong behind a brace is really, really important for posture and for success in your physique. But visually, if you are looking to get lean abs or have visible abs or a six pack, it's really important you put bulk of your effort into the nutrition side of things instead of just doing excessive amounts of exercise.
Yeah, and even on that note, a little bonus on the nutrition side, a big common mistake people are making is thinking that meal timing is going to make such a big difference for them. So they spend a lot of time figuring out how they can space meals out apart, how they can avoid eating before bed, and they can eat right after a workout. It's just not the reality. Like the truth is that if you are following everything we said, and then you're also staying within your overall calorie deficit and you're hitting your numbers properly, you'll be totally fine. But I just see a lot of people focusing on the wrong stuff that's just going to move the needle maybe like 3 to 5% instead of the stuff that's like 80% of the results that you'll get from it, right? So mealtime is another big thing that we see a lot of people make a mistake on, is just trying to perfect that, when in reality, at the end of the day, when you check out, you figure out your numbers, you see what your protein was, what your calories were. That's what's really going to make a big difference. But we wanted to just talk about this, right? Because there's so many myths. There's so many things going on to this day in the industry. I feel like a lot of myths have been broken, but there's still, to this day, the conversations I have, the people I'm speaking to, they're not succeeding because of these things that they believe. And they think that they're not seeing results because they haven't hit abs in a week, and they're grabbing their fat and they're like, I'm not seeing change because I didn't do abs this week. It's like, that's not the reality. So if you can have the right information, the right stuff to apply, it will absolutely be game changing for you. We're here to take all the guesswork out of the process, tell you exactly what you need to hear. And we just want to say thank you for spending time with us today. Once again, first link down below, guaranteed results. And we are so happy to have you here. We'll see you in the next episode on Monday. Peace out.